A very good morning, students. Welcome back to today's class on retail pricing strategies. So we are going to discuss this particular session today. Yesterday, we already started with retail pricing strategies. We discussed regarding what is meant by retail price and how a retail price is fixed, and what are the objectives of retail price that we have seen. And similarly, we discussed regarding the factors that affect retail price, the internal factors that affect retail price, as well as the external factors that affect the retail price. So we have seen all these things in yesterday's class. Okay. So in today's class, we shall discuss regarding the retail pricing strategies. So yesterday, towards the end of the class, we discussed detail demand-oriented retail pricing. Right. And in the demand-oriented retail pricing, we discussed regarding price skimming, which is nothing but at the time of the product launch, if you are placing your product price to be high, if you are at the time of product launch, if your price is above the competitor's price, if you're going for high price, then it's called price skimming. Similarly, we have penetration pricing or skimming pricing and penetration pricing. So in penetration pricing, we place our price of the product below the competitors. Okay, so price skimming is to gain more profits and is to decrease this particular return on investment time and to reach the break even at the earliest. So to decrease the break even time period, we go for price. Generally, organizations go for price skimming. And if the objective is to increase the market share, to capture the market, organizations use this strategy called penetration pricing. And similarly, psychological pricing we have, that is nothing but odd even pricing, pricing at 99, 999, like that. Because this 999 or 99 is single digit number, and the next digit is a 3 digit or a 4 digit number, which makes it impact in the mind of the consumers. Similarly, we have for certain products, we have prestige pricing, and some products we bundle them. Those particular products which are high volume, which are moving fast, and those particular products which have very low demand, you couple high demand products with the low demand products and push them into the market. That's our price bundling. Okay. Now in today's class, let us discuss regarding cost plus pricing or cost oriented pricing. Sorry, cost oriented pricing. In this cost oriented pricing, now this method of determining prices that takes a retail companies, we the objective here is into take into consideration the cost of your manufacturing and your profits also. So here we have got first one, we have got cost plus pricing method under the cost oriented pricing. So in the cost plus pricing, the company sets prices little above the manufacturing cost. For example, if you take the cost of the product to be 600 per unit, the marketer expects 10% profit and then sells the product at 660 rupees. All right. Now this is cost plus pricing. Now this particular cost plus pricing we generally have in traditional businesses. Say for example, now where the manufacturer himself sells the product and you don't have any channel members in between. Say for example, you have this particular confectionery business, and then say you are manufacturing your own bread and you're selling your own bread. And sometimes we may have this particular sweets shop, they manufacture their own sweets and they sell from their own. Right now, on all those particular small businesses, in all those particular petty businesses where they manufacture and they sell, they go for this particular cost plus pricing. Now cost plus pricing is the most commonly used method in small time family owned and traditional businesses, right? Which are where the investment is very low investment, and the products are the fast moving products. Next is markup pricing. The markups are calculated as a percentage of the selling price and not as the percent of the cost price. All right, now the formula here is sales price is equal to average unit by average unit cost by selling price. So this is our markup pricing. Next is break even pricing. Now here the retail company determines the level of sales needed to cover up all the fixed and variable cost. So they want to reach the break even. For example, if the fixed cost is 2 lakh rupees and the variable cost per unit is 15 rupees. So, and the selling price is 20. In that particular case, the company has to sell 40,000 units to cover all its investment. That includes fixed and variable cost. To get back its investment, the money that it's invested, it has to sell 40,000 rupees. Now, say if they are going to, say if they want lesser time, then they are going to increase the price. Okay, increase the price, bring this number of units to 30,000 units or 35,000 units, like that. Next is target return pricing. Now, the retail company here sets a price in order to achieve a particular return on investment. Right. Okay. Now, this can be calculated using the following formula. Say, for example, the target return price formula is total cost by desired percent of return on investment and total sales units. For example, if the total investment is 10,000 rupees, now desired rate of return is 20%. Now total cost is 5,000 and the expected sales are 1,000 units. Then the target return price will be 7 rupees per unit. Now that's how you calculate. Right? We have got a formula now. Using that formula, you calculate and then you arrive at this price and then you fix that particular price. Now, this method, the target return pricing, ensures that price exceeds all costs and contributes to profit. Right? Now, the difference. Now, please pay a close attention. Now, pay a close attention. We have break-even pricing. We have target return pricing. Now, both of them are focusing on on getting their investment back. Whatever they invested in the business, that money should be generated back. Such a way, we'll have to fix the price of the product. In break-even pricing, the focus is only to get the investment back. Whatever cost that you undergone, the cost should come back. That investment should come back. That is your break-even pricing. Whereas in target return pricing, along with the cost that you are getting back, along with the investment that you are getting back, we also add a small percentage of our profit. Right. So now the desired return of investment 20% we said, no, that's the profit. So in this particular for 7 rupees, now 5 rupees will be for the return on investment, for covering that return on investment, and yes, extra 2 rupees will be the profit margin. So with that particular 2 rupees, they are going to meet their current expenses for running the business. Right. Now that's how this particular target return pricing is different from break even. Now there, in the case of the break even, now the 20,000 rupees, the selling price is 20 rupees, right? Now the 20 rupees includes only recovering the investment back. We did not add profit margin there. If you add profit margin, now the target return price is renamed as break-even pricing, is renamed as target return pricing. Now that's the difference between these two. Hope you understood. Right here in break-even pricing, 20 rupees is only for recovering the cost. Whereas in target return pricing, 7 rupees, 5 rupees for recovering the cost, 2 rupees is your profit margin. Okay. So next pricing is early cash recovery pricing. So when the market forecasts this product life cycle is going to be short, now it is essential for the price sensitive product segments such as fashion and technology to recover the investment. Sometimes the company anticipates the entry of a larger company in the market. In these cases, the companies price their products to shorten the risk and maximize short-term profits. Now that's early cash recovery pricing. Next is competition-oriented pricing. Now, based on competition-oriented pricing strategy, we have competition's parity and discount pricing. So when a retail company sets the price for its product, depending on how much the competitor is charging for a similar product, it is competition-oriented pricing, right? So in the competition's parity, the retail company may set the price close to the giant competitor in the market. All right. If your pricing is close to the giant competitor in the market, it's called competitor parity. Right. And if a product is priced at low cost, and if it's lacking some feature than the competitor product, is called as discount pricing. Right. You give huge discounts, but you have this low cost. Okay. Generally, we find this particular discounts on unbranded products. Branded products generally they don't give huge discounts. Branded products gives discount but not huge. Now huge discount comes with the unbranded product. Why unbranded products? Now there's no quality, right? They give the same camera, but that they say 13 MP camera, but 13 MP camera of this unbranded product and 13 MP of Samsung or Apple is completely different. You find huge difference in the quality of the picture, right? So like that, so the features will be available, but the quality is of low quality. So that's the reason they go for this particular discount, and it's called as discount pricing. Next is differential pricing strategy. Okay, so here the differential pricing strategy includes customer segment pricing. Now the price here is charged differently for customers from different customer segments. For examples, customers who purchase online may be charged a less as the cost of service is low for the segment of online customers, right? If you are purchasing it directly, it's a bit high price, but if you are purchasing online, you get it at a low price. Next is time pricing. The retailer charges price depending upon the time, season, and occasions, right? Many a time, resorts charge more during the holiday seasons, Dasra holidays, Pongal holidays, summer holidays, winter holidays. During this particular time, you find this particular process. See, for example, in the winter season, this resort prices in hill stations like Ooty, Kodaikanal, or else in the northern part of India, Nainital. Now, in these particular places, now the resort prices will be very less. The hotel prices will be low because during the winter season, people generally avoid from plains when people are going to hills. Now, these people in the plains are accustomed to regular temperature, so they avoid going in the winter season. But during this holiday seasons or during this particular summer season, the prices will be high because the customer traffic is also going to be very high customer traffic because of the demand. Okay, now that's what we call as time pricing. Next is the location pricing. You see, for example, if you go to a movie, the front rows are charged less, whereas the back seats are charged high. Balcony rate is high, and then the front row seats are less. Now that's the location pricing. Similarly, if you take a product, some products, if you some products like gulab jam or some products, they clearly define, right? If the manufacturing unit is in Karnataka, if it is in Andhra Pradesh, they say now 38 rupees or 36 rupees in AP, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Kerala. Rest of India, 40 rupees. Clearly written, right? So depending upon because the logistics cost will be very high for the rest of India. Logistics cost will be very low. That's the reason they fix here 36 rupees. For the rest of India, they fix 40 rupees. Okay. So that also comes under our location pricing. So here, when we look at our retail pricing, we broadly categorize our retail pricing into 4 categories. All right. Now, the first category is demand-oriented pricing. That's the first category. Under the first category of demand-oriented pricing strategy, we have price skimming, odd-even pricing, penetration pricing, prestige pricing, and price bundling. The second category is cost-oriented pricing. Under cost-oriented pricing, we have cost plus pricing method, markup pricing method, and break-even pricing method. And finally, target return pricing method and early cash recovery pricing method. So these pricing methods come under cost-oriented pricing. The next is competition-oriented pricing. We have 2, competitors parity and discount pricing. And the last one is differential pricing strategy. Under this, we have 3: customer segment pricing, time pricing, and location pricing. So in all, when we look into this particular retail pricing, there are 4 strategies. The first strategy is demand-oriented pricing strategy. That is strategy number 1. Second strategy is cost-oriented pricing strategy. That is pricing strategy number 2. And the third one is competitor-oriented pricing strategy, strategy number 3. And the fourth one is differential pricing strategy. So that's strategy number 4. So each of these pricing strategies have got certain methods, and those methods also we have discussed in the class. Now let's move on to the next topic called retail promotion strategies. Okay. So the next topic that we have here is the retail promotion pricing strategy. So let's look at the retail promotion strategies. So before moving on to retail promotion strategies, let us try and understand the promotional mix. See, in marketing mix, we have got 4 P's, right? Okay, what are the 4 P's? Product, price, promotion, place. Okay, so product, price, place, and promotion. These are the 4 P's of the marketing. So now we are going to look at the promotion, P for promotion, right? So promotion mix consists of certain elements. What are the elements of promotion mix? Advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, direct marketing, and public relations. Okay, so these 5 are the elements of promotion mix. Now let us look at them, right? So before we start off with the elements of the promotional mix, let us try and understand what is meant by retail promotion. So retail promotion is a mix of communication activities. Okay, retail promotion is a mix of communication activities carried out by retailers in order to make a positive influence on the customer's perception, customer's attitude, customer's behavior, which can lead to an increase in store loyalty, store visits, and product purchases. So it's crystal clear, right? So what retail promotion, what does it involve? It is a mix of communication activities. What are the communication activities? It can be advertising, it can be sales promotion, it can be personal selling, or it can be direct marketing or PR. So we have these 5 elements. So they are going to use a mix of this particular, any 3, any 2, any 4, depending on the nature of the business, depending on the nature of the market, and based on those dynamics, they will decide which elements to use. So it's a mix of this communication activities which is being carried out. Now, why we need them? The objective is very clear. The objective of retail promotion is to have a positive influence, right? So the objective number 1 is to have an influence on customer perception, positive influence on customer perception. Objective number 2, influence on their attitude. Objective number 3, positive influence on their behavior. So when you can influence customers' perception, when you can influence customers' attitude and their behavior, it leads to 3 results. What will happen when you achieve these objectives? When your objectives are fulfilled, your retail promotion objectives are fulfilled, it leads to 3. The result is in threefold. The first result is it leads to store loyalty. Now that particular customer will keep visiting the store again and again. Second thing, we are going to have store visits. The number of footfalls are going to increase. More number of new customers are going to come and visit the store. Right. The third result is we'll have an increase in our product purchases. The revenue goes out. Okay. The last one is the key. At the end of the day, we have to run our retail business profitably. Today, we have got organized retailing is very widespread. Organized retailing has also entered into Bharat. Bharat is nothing but the rural part of India. Rural India, we say as Bharat, right? So it has entered into rural India, Bharat. So since even in towns, mandals and towns also, we started having organized retailing, the competition has become quite tough. So that's the reason now we'll have to previously, initially retail promotion strategies were trying to aim at the customer sense organs, right? Create an appeal, attract the customer, and so on and so forth. Now those tactics, okay, and those techniques are no longer working. Those days are gone. So now what we have to do when the competition has increased drastically and everybody is moving in the direction of this organized retailing, and more number of organized retail outlets are coming. So what the retailer has to do now, retailer now has to focus on customer perception, attitude, and behavior. So focus, I mean, use these communication elements, use advertising, use a sales promotion, or use a tool like say personal selling or direct marketing. Use any of these particular tools. For what purpose? For the purpose of creating a positive customer perception, for the purpose of creating a positive customer attitude, for the purpose of creating a positive customer behavior. So when you can change customer perception towards your retail outlet, when you can change customers' attitude and behavior towards your retail outlet, obviously that particular customer will start visiting your store. Customer loyalty shoots up, more number of new customers are going to add, and this in turn will lead to more product purchases, and that will result in increase in the revenue. So when the revenue increases, obviously your profit also increases. In the larger aspect, right, in the broader aspect, moving away from retail promotion, what does a promotion do? Promotion is a sort of a communication which informs, persuades, and reminds the target market about the product. Okay, so now we can say retail promotion can be broadly defined as all communication that persuades or reminds the target customer or other prospective segment about marketing mix of retail firm. Okay, now let us look at the objectives of retail promotion. So the objectives of retail promotion include increasing the store traffic by encouraging new shoppers, right? Okay, increase the store traffic, or else increase the number of footfalls. Next, increase the share of wallet. So when a customer is coming, he should buy something. And regular customers, if they should buy more, they should buy all their groceries and everything. Similarly, increase the sale of a given product category. Certain products, everybody should be focusing on their own product category, ensure the sales are happening in that particular product category. Now, for ensuring them, we have the promotional elements, and there are broadly 5 promotional elements. What are those 5 promotional elements? First is advertising. Second is sales promotion. Third one is personal selling. Fourth one is direct marketing. And the last one is publicity or public relations. PR or publicity is one and the same. Okay. So using this particular 5 promotional elements, we have to ensure that the number of footfalls are increasing, the store traffic is increasing, right? And at the same time, new customers are also coming, and every customer who is walking into the store should buy something, and we should also try to increase the share of their wallet. And finally, also ensure every department within the retail outlet, those particular employees who are employed in those particular departments, they should ensure the sales increase in their particular department. Okay, so these are the objectives, right? Now, in the next class, when we meet, in tomorrow's class, when we meet, let us start off with retail advertising. Okay, so we shall begin with the elements of retail promotion mix in fresh class. So we can start off with retail advertising, sales promotion, personal selling, direct marketing, and publicity or public relations. So I thank you one and all for your patient hearing.